Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Week 3 broadcast of Pretend Football Now, brought to you only on the Pretend Sports Broadcasting Network. Maul, we've got a heck of a show lined up today.
Absolutely. We have two great game recaps to go through and a special guest later on.
I'm excited for that special guest, let me tell you. Also, we're going to be breaking down two games just as normal, and we have a brand new segment for you, and we'll be getting to that later on in the broadcast. But for now, let's take it away.
In our first game of the week, a matchup of league leaders, the 3-1 Dogs Doomsday Destroyers went on the road to face off with the Not Very Goods in Terrible Stadium. Clearly, Larry Fitzgerald has discovered the fountain of youth in Dogstown as he put up an amazing 36 points, overcoming some questionable decisions by head coach Mike Adago. I mean, everyone and their mother knew that Ladarius Green wasn't going to play this week, yet Dogs traipsed him out there, headaches and all. No surprise, he put up a goose egg and threatened the win for our former champion. But alas, the goods let him magoo his way through. Coach Dan Swanson can only lament awful decision making, letting Chris Johnson and his 30 points on the bench in favor of the has-been, or rather never was, Alfred Morris. I mean, gosh, even Devin Funches doubled up Morris. And live, via satellite, we have none other than Mr. Funches himself. Hey, Mr. Funches, how are you doing today?
I am doing quite well. I took a moment to have some breakfast. I looked at the sunset. I eat breakfast very late, you see. It is a decision that helps my game time thinking.
Well, is it fair to say that this season has been a disappointment for you thus far?
I do not think so. You must remember the game of football is a game of passion, and Funches is very passionate.
Well, on 5 points over 3 games, it's not quite wide receiver 3 or 4 or even 7 for that matter.
You talk about it, these points. Why do you not talk about the actual game of football, the press of the warm bodies together? That is the important part. The points just come, and then they go. It is the way of the game. It is the way of Funches.
Well, okay, Mr. Funches. Heading into next week's matchup, how are you going to step up your production?
Well, looking forward, I will take a moment to review exactly how good my hair looks in the mirror and make sure that I inappropriately touch at least one beautiful woman on my way to the locker room. Again, it is the way of Funches.
Mr. Funches, you don't seem to be taking this season very seriously.
No,
is it because you're disappointed with your place on the Not Very Goods?
Well, you understand the coaches, they do not understand the drive to play. Coach Dan Swanson, he's more of a beast than a man. He has a low cunning, but he does not feel the love for the game. Football is like a woman. It must be caressed and taken care of. Coach Swanson, he wants to ram the ball violently into the buttocks of the opposing defense. This is not the way to play football. This is not the way of Funches.
Thank you, Mr. Funches.
You're welcome.
Back to you, Psych.
Why? Thank you, Maul. This next closely fought battle was truly an illustration of the dizzying heights and ruthless, spike-strewn valleys of pretend football decisions. Buckets the Moonwalkers were led by the valiant efforts of rookie hot hand Marcus Mariota, who put up 20 points, and Calvin Johnson, who caught a big 15 out of the air, only to be cruelly stabbed in the back by the steaming back alley 2 a.m. heroin bender vomit that was the Dolphins defense, who were pummeled mercilessly about the head and neck for a loss of 7 crucial points. If only Coach Shooter played with his heart, the Giants D would have prevented disaster instead of watching that disaster unfold from the bench. Now, despite Colin Kaepernick's best efforts to lose this game for the Vagina Flowers with 4 points, including 2 interceptions that turned into defensive touchdowns, the Vagina Flowers were aided to victory by Dion Lewis on the ground with 17 points and Pierre Garçon grabbing a nice 11. Hideous, bloated Goblin Man, Sebastian Janikowski, kicked up 9 points, and the last piece of the puzzle that they needed for victory was the football war crime that was the Buckets D. All in all, a bad game for the Moonwalkers. But by use of their gross and disturbing stamens, petals, and roots, the Vagina Flowers snatched victory by capitalizing on a single bad choice. Now for a new segment, Bench Blues. Maul, who's singing them Bench Blues? Let's count it down.
Well, the 5th worst play of the week, losing 21 points, the Stinky Pinks played Danny Amendola and Emmanuel Sanders, both who put up 14 points. Not too shabby, pretty respectable, but they were both outscored by Greg Olson, who put up 35. It's a little early to tell, but it looks like the Pinks are going to end up going 1-1 because of that mishap.
Well, let's move on to number 4. For a total loss of 21 points, the Sharpsville Gravy Legs played Jeremy Hill, who put up 2 points. 2 points. Over Lance Dunbar, who put in a commanding 23 points. Not like it affected them, though. They're still 2-0 this week.
Yeah, not as lucky, I should say, are the Flapjacks, who lost 24 points by playing Anquan Bolden, who put up a dismal 3 spot. He had the option to play LeGarrette Blunt, who went off for 27. It's likely that the Flapjacks went 2-0, but they could get bit if Aaron Rodgers goes off on Monday Night Football. Who's at number 2?
At number 2, we have a 29-point differential for the Not Very Goods. Alfred Morris was on the field. 1 point. He chose that over Chris Johnson, who put up 30 points. It's too early to tell, but it looks like 0-2 may have been switched to 1-1 if he only made the right play.
It was a horrible, horrible play, but it is not the worst play of the week. That honor goes to our defending champion, the Cooter Institute Beavers, who played, I didn't even know he was still on a roster, Dexter McCluster.
Oh, goodness.
Who put up 4 points. He had the option of Devontae Freeman. Everyone knew to play Freeman this week. He was a clear juggernaut. He put up 44. It was a shocking 40-point loss for the Beavers. Wouldn't have changed the outcome in either of his games. He still would have gotten smoked by the Bill Brunoists.
And that was it for the Bench Blues. Tune in next week and we'll have some more blues to sing for you. What a rousing week of pretend football it has been. Maul, right now, let's get your word of the week.
Pedcack.
That's a head scratcher for sure. From all of us at PSBN, this has been Pretend Football Now.